chance, I know that you guys have time limits and things like that, but the last name, McMahon, this is going to be the first of a 4-part series on the Irish coming to Worcester. So I was told I have 45 minutes today. Nobody has anywhere else to go. So I appreciate the time, but in all sincerity, I just want to start off by saying thank you to this club. I've been back and forth. Before I had kids, I was a member of the Westboro Club, so I know very well the work that you guys do. And I was glad to hear Westboro's numbers were just slightly higher than yours, give you guys a challenge for the next year. But in all seriousness, I heard that this club has way better speakers, so that's a good way to get moving here. You know, and I heard about the opiate crisis, and people talking about that, and that, on a more serious note, touches very close to home for us at Dismas House. For those of you who don't know what we do at Dismas, we work with people who are coming out of prison and jail, helping them get back on their feet in the community. We're named for the good thief. For those who don't know who Dismas was, he was the good thief who was promised paradise when he asked for forgiveness. And we have a long-standing connection with the College of the Holy Cross. Really, it was College of the Holy Cross alumni who got us going. And the reason I'm here today is because you guys made a very generous donation that helped us redo all the landscaping for our flagship house in Maine South Worcester. And it was really needed. I can tell you that it's tough to keep doing the work we're doing. And I just want to share a brief story with you about an experiment that was done called Rat Park. And it fits in really nicely with the work that you guys are going to be doing on opiates. So there was an experiment years ago where they had a rat in a cage, and they gave him the opportunity of drinking either heroin-tainted water or regular water. What they found was these isolated rats would always, over time, choose the heroin-laced water over the regular water to the point where they would drink it to the point where they would die. So they found that it was an experiment that showed the level of addiction and what it could do to people in isolation. And then years later, there was a psychiatrist who decided to take a twist on this experiment, and he set up something called Rat Park. Okay, so Rat Park was a rat's dream. It was not just one cage, it was multiple cages. There were wood chips, there were cans to hide in, there was more than one rat around. They could run around and engage with one another. It was a happy place for a rat. It doesn't sound too appealing to us, but for a rat. And by the way, don't mention to any of my residents that I'm comparing them to rats, because that doesn't go over very well with former prisoners. But what they found was when they introduced the water to the rats of Rat Park, that the rats in Rat Park would choose the regular water over the heroin-induced water. So why is that? What they found is that the community that the rat goes into has a major effect on the health and well-being and the level of addiction of the rats involved. So the rats in the happy Rat Park did not become addicts. The rats who were isolated did. And the same parallel can be drawn for people in our community. A lot of us have gone to hospitals. People have had wisdom teeth out. A lot of folks end up having OxyContin and other painkillers like that to deal with the surgery and so forth. But why is it when we come out of the hospital, millions of us come out of the hospital in the United States, we don't end up having an addiction to those painkillers after we take them home and have to use them for pain and that kind of thing. And other people do have those addiction issues. And the reason is that in a lot of circumstances, not all, by all means this is not a total solution, but in a lot of circumstances, those of us who have surgery and come out, we come home to a loving community. We come home to a family structure that embraces us. We come home to connections in the community, and we have groups and associations just like Rotary that we're a part of that give us our lives meaning. And for other people, those who have belonged to abusive families, those who have had struggles their whole life, they don't have that to come home to, and what we do is we create a whole new generation of addiction through those prescription drugs, through the heroin that's available on the street, and what we do. So at Dismas House, you know, we're no longer the cage. The rats are free. They come into Dismas of their own free will. And you know, the question that we're left with at the end of the day is, what kind of rap park do we want to create? And I just want to say thank you, because I'm so proud to be a part of the city of Worcester and the response that we create for everything under the sun, whether it's renovating an arts district, what's going on at the canal, the debate over bringing in the Pawtucket Red Sox, which would be wonderful for my son, or whether it's deeper issues of addiction and issues of poverty that we have in the city of Worcester. And at Dismas, what we try to do is we try to create a welcoming, loving environment. We have a saying, it could be considered a little corny, Dismas is family. And that's what we try to create. We try to recreate a family environment in our different homes. We have the Dismas farm, we have Dismas house in Maine South, and on the east side of Worcester we have Father Brooks' house. And at any given time we have men who are living in our programs, trying to put their lives back together. And just to show you that we are living in an unprecedented time with this opiate epidemic. You know, 2 of our former residents just recently died in the last month from overdoses. And the reason for it is that it's a combination of the availability of prescription drugs and the purity of heroin that's available on the streets, not just in Worcester, but in the cities and the communities throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. What we have is a crisis. I'm thrilled to hear that you guys are going to be a part of it. But I do think that the response has to be a welcoming environment, creating community, creating a solid foundation, just like we have in our families, where we have a combination of opportunities for people to do well in the community, and we have expectations for their behavior, and they're not using drugs and alcohol while they're recovering and entering into recovery. So I would invite you all to come see Dismas House at any time. It looks great, especially now that we've put in the new landscaping that you guys afforded. A lot of folks in this room have contributed in different ways, whether it's 20 cases of soda for our annual Fall Harvest Festival, or masonry supplies for building a grill in the past. You guys are wonderful people who have been involved in the success of this city, and I can't tell you, for somebody who's been involved on the front lines and the struggle with people who are really trying to get their lives back together, how deep our appreciation is of the support and the work that you guys do. I'm just thrilled. Every time I come here, I feel like, how am I going to follow up on this guy or that guy? Or I hear about a fundraiser or a project that's going on in India, and it's really quite tremendous. And we rarely have the opportunity in the community to express to you the thanks that that we have for the work that you do, and the time and the energy that you put into supporting people in the community. So I know Amy's been, unfortunately isn't here, and she's been a great spokesperson for our organization in the meantime, but let me just say one more time, thank you, and God bless you, and we appreciate the support.